Alrighty. Our last VOD got cut a little short. Jess won her game, playing pretty successfully. Oh, hold on a second. We might have an issue. Hey, can somebody confirm with Declan that he did, in fact, mean to pick Protoss? It is okay if he did. Just wanted to make sure before we keep going. Okay. Yes? Good. Fantastic. We're allowing players to swap their factions while they're in the blind tournament. I just wanted to verify that that was intentional because we had started the game fairly quickly. Jess and Declan are both on Protoss. We got Declan as the purple Protoss here, and we got Jess as the green Protoss here. Jess had won her last game, commanding a fairly solid military advantage into some unfortunate unit control out of Declan that is just kind of product of being in a blind tournament. So can't really blame him on anything. Didn't do anything wrong. Just hard to know everything you don't know. We got double simulator, double pylon up out of both players. These players are neck and neck in this situation. We got Nexus producing probes out of both of these players. It'll be very interesting to see what this mirror match produces. Declan was playing Terran last time, so now he has swapped off to Protoss. He's played a Protoss match before, I believe. Or possibly he has just gotten some experience out of the VODs that he's played. I can't remember what he played in our last tournament game. So far, he's doing it all right, though. See third pylon coming up out of Jess. Declan getting a gateway up. Nexus started very quickly for Jess. She's going for a little bit of early mineral expansion. The late production on her gateway might cost her, though. We're going to see how quickly she gets that one up. All right, we got gateway coming up. Just a little bit slower, about halfway finished with the gateway over here. Not enough that we could see really any impressive rush on this map. That means that... oh, we see Forge coming up too, though. Do we see Forge over here? I see Forge double gateway. Double gateway Forge coming out of Jess here. Declan needs to spend some more of his minerals to keep in pace here. Starcraft is a game that is won in the course of decisions made over a few seconds far earlier in the game. So seeing this expansion coming out earlier for Jess is going to mean significant numbers of minerals in her advantage, potentially. We'll see what we get access to here. Forge, double gateway coming up. No chrono boosts out of either of these players. We saw in the friendly tournament Boone utilizing his chrono boosts very effectively, although not to the maximum potential, but still very, very strong. Chrono boost is one of the best things that Protoss have available to them. We got Zealots coming out for Declan here. Double Zealots coming out for Jess, but she is a little tight on minerals. She's going to really need to utilize this worker advantage that she's gotten herself, this mineral advantage that she's gotten herself out of these double gateways. It's going to be tight, though. Declan with a photon cannon coming up, pylon coming up forward here. He could really afford to build a Nexus here. He needs to do that soon, or he's going to fall really far behind. The unit quality that he can make right now is not so great as to trump 4 Zealots coming at him really fast. Although he does have his upgrades up just a little bit faster. Jess hasn't even started her upgrades yet. Ooh. Declan might actually be in a completely fine position here. Those upgrades, this photon cannon, proper movement with your stuff, especially because this photon cannon can like shoot over the edge of this here. It has like range that'll hit this whole area here. So theoretically, that could be a really big problem. The ramp on this map too is right here. So anything coming up this way needs to walk past this in order to get to these over here realistically. Double photon cannon and a cybernetics core coming up here. No upgrade started yet for Jess. But she does have 2 fully saturated bases to Declan's 0. Declan's got a lot of high-tech buildings already up and available to him, but he's fallen behind on the income track significantly. And Jess has very little resources stuck in her storage. She's got about double the military strength right now. Where are all these units sitting at? They're just sitting here, chilling. Bing chilling. Oh my gosh. Bunch of stalkers. Bunch of adepts coming in. We do not see the gateway producing units. Robotics facility and Stargate coming up. These are some developments that will put Declan in a position to actually be able to win whatever fight he's in. If he can get them up and online in time, because these units are not going to fight very well into some really powerful stuff. You see Stalkers coming out for Declan. That's going to keep him on par militarily. He is up on upgrades still. Jess has started ground weapons 1, so we got ground armor up though. 1-1 versus 1-0 is tough. It's tough to win those fights still, especially when you're on like fairly even footing. And when you're fighting Protoss, they've always got their photon cannons sitting up and around. I doubt much damage will occur if Jess even wins a fight here. We do see the natural finally going up for Declan. So he is rocketed ahead in technology level. He's like as much as he can in StarCraft. He's got Void Rays coming out already. Jess does not have a Stargate up and online. She's building one right now, but Declan theoretically has a little bit of time that he's going to have Void Rays up and no response out of Jess. That'll keep him safe, at least until he can get his natural up and fully operating. Catch up a little bit on the mineral deficit he's had. It's hard to utilize this advantage though to really do much in this particular position in this game. He could maybe do some advanced harassment with his Void Rays, but we haven't seen much harassing out of players with any of their stuff. Harassing is very hard to do. It requires a lot of APM. Got to be managing your base while also micro-managing military units moving around in enemy territory. Pretty difficult. See some photon cannons going up. Jess's supply locked at 78. She's got to build more pylons. You must construct additional pylons. Declan getting ahead of his supply lock issue, but not quite producing as many units as he could be. We got shields coming up. Upgraded shields for Protoss here. Jess just starting to finish armor here. Let's see if this... She doesn't have shields in production yet. Where is the forge over here? Do we see ground weapons 2 getting researched yet? No. No, we don't. Thus far, Jess has not been in a position realistically to actually win any serious engagement against Declan here, which is good because Declan is behind on economy, so he needs to be in a strong defensive position, and Jess needs to practice a little bit of patience while she catches up, and eventually those couple thousand extra minerals that she produced from having an early natural over Declan will turn into a military lead that is actually palpable. We got Immortals coming up. This is a pretty strong force out of Declan. Declan has some good stuff going on. We see air armor coming up for Declan. Declan's got his tech online. We'd love to see ground weapons 2 getting research to the forge here, any of these upgrades, but he is kind of tight on minerals at this point. The pains of not producing an early natural are catching up to him. Meanwhile, Jess is exceptionally flooded in resources, which means that she has not utilized all of the extra minerals she's gotten from this early advantage effectively. So that's why we're seeing a situation where Declan's forces, albeit slightly smaller, are on par, now falling behind, but currently on par. We really do need to see... Oh, Jess with a fleet beacon coming up. Second Stargate. Jess going for some carrier tech, it looks like here. That would be really, really cool to see. Neither of these players have scouted each other. They're just both kind of scared, I guess. Both a little trepidatious about each other, which is fair and good. Totally makes sense. Now is an opportunity where Declan could get in some really solid harassment with his Void Rays. They're very fast. There's a lot of territory in this section of the map that you can use to retreat your air units into that ground units can't get to. And with just 2 Void Rays for Jess, she can't really defend at this exact moment. We're going to see that change in just a second once she starts getting carriers up here. If she decides to get carriers up. She might be building a mothership somewhere. She could also go for Tempests. Tempests are pretty solid, but they're not as flashy as a carrier. Carriers are like the big shot. Oh, she's going for an attack here. Okay. So this could be a bad situation for Jess. Declan has 1-1-1-1. And he needs to react to this attack, though. He does need to react to this attack before he loses his natural. Yep, there you go. Fantastic. Beautiful. Yep, that tech level matters a lot. Declan with the Void Rays still in the air. So he's going to lose a lot of his ground units here, but he's still got 5 Void Rays in the air. That's so many Void Rays. And the Immortal on the ground. Pumping out damage in these guys. Immortals are crazy. They deal so much damage to ground units. They're crazy. Do you see this? 22 damage, 55 versus armored. They punch through shit. Alright, and we're seeing tech level. That is what tech level will do. He was behind about probably 20 units, and his tech level was just a little bit higher. He had better shields, and that is enough to put you in a situation to win the game. I think he had air weapons too. Air weapons will do it a lot too. Here we can take a look at upgrades during that. Yeah, yep. The 6-2 upgrades is enough to kind of send your game over the top. He could get aggressive right now with these units and kind of help himself out, but not quite seeing that. Jess is producing flux veins? I've never seen these before. What is this? Makes your Void Rays faster. Reasonable. Third base going up for Jess. Second base getting reestablished for Declan. Jess did do a lot of economic damage during that fight, although her losses were significantly greater. She had those resources to expend because of her early natural that she had, but we're seeing Declan's strategy of kind of just building the best units that he can right away really paying off here. He had opportunities to build his Nexus up during that case, but it wasn't a critical error. They're pretty even here, but Declan is down about half on his probes. Basically, all of the supply difference we're seeing here is workers, which can really turn into a problem later if Jess can start effectively utilizing all of her production. Seeing Void Rays coming out pretty fast, but Void Rays use a lot of Vespene, and we only have 2 workers in each of our Vespene chambers here. We got a single assimilator up here, but she's choked on gas. We could see that problem get fixed pretty quickly. A little bit of focus. Declan coming out with a Tempest. He got a fleet beacon up while I wasn't looking. He's building a mothership too? Nope, no mothership out of him, but a fleet beacon, yes. Tempests are kind of cool. They deal some really crazy damage. against stuff. They deal 44 damage in attack against ground units, and they attack 2.5 times a second. Crazy. Crazy damage. I might have that incorrect. It might be the backwards. I haven't looked up weapon speed functions, whether this actually works. I seem to remember that these units are very slow firing, so that might be incorrect. They might fire very slowly. Hard to say. Hard to say indeed. Yeah, I can't find a stat on any of this that make. Yeah, actually. Man, yeah, I don't know. Jess has got a really big force here. This is going to be close, but Declan has a bunch of invisible units. He's built a bunch of Dark Templars. Oh my gosh. Jess has no detectors here, which means that she cannot win this fight. Okay, so higher weapon speed does mean slower attacks. But we are seeing those Tempests just annihilating these air units. They deal so much damage. 4th base going up for Jess. She has so many minerals. She's losing a bunch of resources in these fights, unfortunately. But she has the economy to back it up, and Declan is not punishing these overextensions. Although she is only setting in a little bit of resources at a time, so it's probably fine. If she trades off enough with Declan, she'll eventually come ahead. Declan is pretty choked on resources at this point, so that is a thing that we're seeing happening. This is a situation where Jess might just end up bleeding out Declan over the course of 7, 8, 10 attacks. These resources just not mattering because she's made so many. Take a look at her income track for just a second. She's about 500 resources up. It's a lot. It's a lot of resources. Declan's main base is no longer got any resources in it, so he really needs to be building his expansion here. We see that coming out. Both these players have expansions available down here as well if they mine out this little mineral field. A little bit safer than this expansion that Jess has taken here, but she's in a strong enough position that she can afford to defend such a location. We'd love to see Declan get aggressive with these Templars that he's got access to. They're invisible, which means you need a detector to see them, and Jess does not have any detectors out. She's got a proton cannon up here, but it could come take these 2 bases. Those Dark Templars could come take these 2 bases for completely free. Nothing could interact with them. They would just kill everything, and you would need to build a unit that can see them in order to actually do anything, which would be like an oracle out of your gateway or something. Nope, oracles are not in the gateway. Where are the... Nope, not talking about oracles. I'm talking about... Declan had one. He's got a little probe guy. Where'd it go? Nope, I'm losing my mind. We're looking at a pretty tied up military situation here. Declan building more pylons so he doesn't get supply capped. Pretty solid. He could honestly afford to take a 4th base here very aggressively. He's been having some economy issues. We've been seeing his minerals hit 0. Just still pumping out military units like crazy. She's got stuff sitting back here. She could attack with this whole force right now. Yeah. Oh, she could attack with this whole force and then attack again. Declan has just such a strong defensive force walled up right now, though. This is very hard to deal with. Yep. Oh, and those Dark Templars just get in on the ground and they chew everything up. None of those Zealots can touch anything. These Tempests have really long range, but once stuff gets on top of them, they melt pretty quick. Taking out a good handful of units there. Declan has a really solid opportunity to get aggressive here. He's got triple the military strength. He needs to find one of these windows to engage in, or else he's going to get smothered in resources. You see, I see him kind of moving his stuff forward. He's thinking about it. You can see he's gathering his troops. This is it. This is your window. It's very brief, but you've got access to it. And he's still got these Dark Templars in here. So once these units get in, if he has the ability to destroy the couple of photon cannons that she's got sitting around, they'll just wreak havoc. They'll win the game by themselves. It's pretty hard for these tournament players in these blind tournaments to actually do much against invisible units. They don't really know how detectors work very much. Declan taking advantage of the fact that she's built a fragile forward base here, cleaning that up very, very quickly. That's going to help him catch up on the economy game. We see his income already going up. He doesn't have any stuff in production at home right now, though. So he does need to get on top of that in case he loses this fight, because there is a small chance that he might. Nope, and that's going to look like all she wrote. Look at that. Just sitting on his base until he had chewed up enough resources that he could come in and win the game. An impressive game out of Declan there. And we're going to see the first 3-game series. First 3-game series in the whole tournament. And it's in one of our semifinals. This is exciting. This is exciting. Congratulations to Declan. Hello. She had she did have a pretty solid situation going on. Yeah, congratulations, Declan. Very excited that we get a 3-game series out of this. That's awesome.